Welcome to my channel, Conversations with Dr. Sue. I am Dr. Susan Musikanth, Counselling Psychologist and author. And today I'm joined by Irene Berman, social worker and also author, and she is going to interview me and share my story with you. I'm really hoping that my story inspires you to actualize your own potential as I have done in my life. I grew up in Vereeniging. I was born and brought up in Vereeniging at the local schools where academia wasn't really my thing. I enjoyed connecting with people and chatted a lot with anybody that would talk to me. People I knew, strangers. Yeah. I was a chatter. So I spent a lot of my school time in high school, particularly outside of the classroom, for talking. But probably chatting and connecting with people has given me a nice living today. So the idea of the principal of my school was, Sue's got a nice smile, she'll get married, let her do a secretarial course. Her sisters, they're academic. Right. And I didn't start with a secretarial course. I went to art school. They had no exams at Michaelis Art School, and I lasted 6 months. And then my boyfriend at the time, Stan, suggested that I don't listen to the principal at my high school, friends and family who thought I wasn't quite up to academia. I picked up a book from UNISA, and I decided to try to study for a BA. And he suggested that I don't listen to the other people, and that if I sit long enough on a chair, I can get a degree. This was something way beyond me.
So nobody ever felt that you had the potential?
No, not me. Fast forward, I hit on psychology in my second year. I passed my first year. I hit on psychology in my second year. And I said, they can laugh as much as they like. I'm going to become a psychologist, and I'm going to have my doctorate by the time I'm 35.
And did you?
It gave me a lot of runway. I was sort of 21 at the time.
Wow.
So I got my doctorate in the May, and I turned 35 in June.
That is absolutely amazing. And you know what strikes me about that is the fact that sometimes we get stereotyped and we get put in that mold, and we get stuck there because we don't think that we can do anything other than what people expect us to do. And it's as though Stan, held up a mirror to you and said, this is who you can be. You could be whatever you want. And it took someone to see that, to actually free you.
So it probably was a perfect storm, because Stan said, you can. I picked up a book that said, this is grabbing my interest. Especially, I remember at that time it was Carl Rogers.
Yes.
Do you remember Carl Rogers?
Of course.
And the base of his theory was warmth, empathy, and honesty were the hallmarks of a good therapist. And it just struck with me. It stuck with me. And I said, I want to be a psychologist, and I would work in that way.
And you have.
It was hard work. I think I worked harder than some of my friends who were studying. It took them faster, quicker to absorb information.
Right.
I needed to write it down and summarize it and learn it and drive myself a bit crazy in the process. And at the end of most years, in the 13 years that I studied, just before exams, I said, what on earth am I doing this for? And Stan used to say, so give it up. You don't have to do it. But then I'd take my breath after exams, and by the beginning of the next year, I was fresh.
Have you used your story to motivate others over the years?
A lot. I used to assess children. They used to come to me with learning problems. I think I probably had a learning problem myself that I didn't achieve at school. But the parents used to bring them, and the parents were told by the school that this child is a bit slow, not managing well. And I used to assess these children, and I used to say to the parents, don't put a lid on this child's head. And I would tell a summary of my story.
Right.
And
wow,
it was
so important.
And then I remember seeing a little boy, his shoes were this size.
Yeah.
And his parents had heard the story that he's not too bright. I met him many years later, a qualified architect.
Wow.
Tall, he was still slim, and I don't think his feet were that much bigger. But he was slim, he was well dressed, and he had got himself a profession. I've been known to push people. In my practice, somebody's keen to do something. I'm their champion. I push, I get excited, I get passionate because I remember being where they are, with the hard work, with the entrepreneurship, with the grit and
Well, you did that for me. I was working
in adoption
work at child welfare, and I had this dream of going into private practice, but not that much confidence. And you said to me, you can. And you said not only you can, but you actually shared your rooms with me, which was like this incredible vote of confidence. And really, if not for you, I wouldn't have been in private practice.
I love to promote people.
Yeah.
And that's also the purpose of this next chapter in my life and career.
Explain.
I want to be able to use these talks around my table to promote whoever comes to talk with me. For example, you have written several books, one of which is A Road Called Adoption, and then many wonderful children's stories, and the latest hilarious novel called Call Me My Sugar. And I want to know that these talks are not only about me, they're about us and we. And I only want people around my table who I trust, who I connect with, who I believe that our talking with each other is going to intrigue and inspire others. And that if somebody hears our stories, they're going to join our stories and tell us about their insights and knowledge so that we grow this part of our life.